Hello friends and tubers, my name is Dave Dixon if I haven't met you, and I live up in Northern California and I love California. I wanted to say that. Today what I wanted to talk about was van life, because initially when I heard about it and saw it, it was all very, very positive. And it had to do with a lot of people around COVID especially decided to get in a van and start traveling all over the country. It's appealing because it's kind of like you're on vacation all the time, or that's what it seemed like. And there was a lot of positive stories on that. And I still, even at that time, I still thought that that might not be the reality of it. So I was watching a YouTube video yesterday, and it had to do with a younger lady, and apparently she had gone through a really terrible divorce, and her divorce caused her to lose a house, and they lost, had a lot of debt and stuff that was involved with it. It was really bad. And then she was talking about her life, her van life, which was more like just kind of living in the car, because she had no other options. But she really did appreciate the part that she had a car. And kind of in the middle of the video, she really literally just broke down, saying that she doesn't want to live in a car. She was forced to live in a car, and there's a lot of scary things that happen, that scared her, and she doesn't want to live in a car anymore. And it got me to thinking about van life, because as you may or may not know, I'm making a van for van life. I'm on a slow build on it, but I'm excited about it. And it made me think, why do some people get into van life? They talk about it quite a bit, that the rents are exorbitant. A lot of times the people don't own a house, so they are just paying their rent, and the rent keeps going up and up and up. I know we had a family at our church, and their rent zoomed up really quick, like $800 a month. It was almost like not legal, but it was legal. And so it forced them to have to move out of the house that they were renting. And so I think a lot of people there's a lot of competition for rentals, and a lot of people, landlords, are raising the rents because the market tells them that they can do that. And then people that are making this month-to-month rent, which the people that live next door to us, they actually were renting that house out, and it was $3,000 a month. It's not as big as our house. It was a single story, but they always had people renting it. It was amazing when I first heard how much they were renting it for. And so in the case of that young lady I was talking about, she had no place to live, and I guess no family to draw off of, no support. And so she ended up getting into her car, and she moved into her car. At one time she said she did have a motorhome, and she liked it because it helped her to get away from an abusive relationship. Even if it was just for a weekend or a week or whatever, she would love to go out on her motorhome, and I think it was $800 a month, she said. And then when the divorce happened, she ended up losing all of that and lost the motorhome. So then it became a necessity. If you have no place to go, you have nobody that can help you out, there's not a place that you can stay. I mean, I think almost the last option is to move into your car. And then you have to kind of go around like a nomad and try to learn the ins and outs of where you can park and stay for free, and how are you going to shower, how are you going to do your day-to-day things that you need to do. But I think it was just the tone of how she was crying, and she was very upset during the video. I really had never seen anybody get that upset, and she wasn't asking for anything. She was just pointing out that she just didn't want to do it anymore, but she really has no other options. So I think that's the bad thing about van life. I notice a lot of people are quitting van life and they're looking for something more stable. They're getting back into a house. I've actually seen quite a few people that were on Vanlife. A lot of them are solo. One of them is a couple, and they just are calling it quits. They're done with it. And their reasoning is all different, you know. So I see interviews of really old people, you know, I would say in their 80s, that are living in their cars or sometimes in a dilapidated looking van. And I keep thinking to myself, they just can't be happy doing that. But they appear to be happy. They're free, and they're free from the freedom of rent. But, you know, basically traveling down to Arizona, and then in the summertime, they may travel up to Montana. But even having trouble making ends meet, you know, so they have a lot of jobs that you can do. But I think overall, for me, that's not what I'm looking at in terms of van life. I would like to have a vehicle that's really set up for van life. In a lot of ways, it's kind of like my hot rods. I'm more interested in the build than I am in probably the traveling. I do plan on using it. I don't know how much I'm going to stay in it, you know, because I just want to take all of the good information that I've gotten and try to incorporate it into my project. And there's a lot of good information out there. And a lot of people, you know, they don't see that information, so they just start down the wrong road. I had mentioned before, I saw one where the lady just gave up van life. And she had put so much time and money into her interior of her van. It looked stunning, it looked great. But not as much into her engine and transmission and drivetrain. And so it seemed to be like nickeling and diming her to death. But I think those are the kind of things that you have to take care of and have a very reliable, you know, vehicle to begin with. And I think that will make the overall experience a lot better. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about that and just my impression on it. My timeline is really 3 years. Once I get it, the four-wheel drive installed on it, I do plan on driving it quite a bit. And if there's a problem with it, or whether there is or not, I'll probably go through like the radiator, go through the water pump, change those things out, and just keep improving it, you know, as I go through it. And I'm not going to say I'm trying to break it, but I'm going to probably try to break it. If it's going to break, I would rather it break while I'm 10 or 15 miles away from my home. Luckily for my van, it is towable, or, you know, you can get a flatbed and get it to my mechanic rather than having to be stuck in the middle of the Arizona desert. So always better to try to take care of it at that point. And then mine is also going to be a stealth van. And so I will be parking it at my house. It was parked behind my truck on the street. And I'd see people kind of looking at it and stuff, but it was pretty obvious nobody was in it because it's a window van, so you could clearly see. And I'm going to try to keep that same thing open. My idea was to build a loft in the back of it at the top, so that even if somebody were looking inside there, they wouldn't be able to see that there was anybody in there. In that little loft, which would be kind of like an enclosed little cave, I would have my bed and my sleeping light, you know, and also I would have the ability to heat it and then also to cool it without having to heat or cool the whole van. Now, once I get ready to get up in the morning, I can turn the heater on in the regular van part of it and use it that way. So I've got a lot of ideas that I want to incorporate, but none of these are my ideas. They're ideas that I've seen and watching hundreds of videos on it. I'm even watching a video on a younger couple. I guess they have a daughter, and he's trying to build out a van, and he's asking a lot of questions, you know, in terms of insulation, how do you insulate it, and people are giving them a lot of recommendation, and I would say most of it is really good. So I even learned from those. I learned from videos. of vans that were done wrong, or they later found out this was not right. You can learn a lot from that. So that's my goal in creating my van for Vanlife, and I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you for finding me. I hope you will subscribe so we can stay in contact, and we can continue to talk about this in the future. Thank you much, and have a great day.